Hey there, welcome to today's session on preparing for the DP-700 and DP-600 certification exams. If you're aiming for the Microsoft Certified Fabric Data Engineer or Analytics Associate certification, or just want to understand how these exams work, then you're in the right place. In this video, we will dive into the core concepts, the hands-on experience you need, and the key exam strategies that will set you up for success. We are breaking down the essential tools and techniques, SQL, PySpark, and KQL that will be critical for acing your exams. So whether you're just starting your journey or refining your skills, make sure to stay tuned to maximize your chances of success. And here's what some of our learners achieved after attending our programs. Plus, if you're looking to level up your career, I've got a fantastic opportunity for you. Join our free masterclass on Azure Data on Cloud. You can find the link to register in the description and pinned comments. So now let's get started with the video.
Okay, welcome to the DP-700 and DP-600 certification preparation session. The agenda of the session is to understand how we can maximize our chances to clear the exam DP-700 and DP-600. The DP-700 and DP-600 exams both are associate level certifications. They are not expert level certifications. So, what is the difference? The difference is in associate level certifications, you get more questions surrounding implementation, how to do something. Whereas when you go to expert level certifications, rather than how to do something, it becomes more about design and architecture. What to choose, when to choose, what are the pros and the cons, and so on and so forth. So let us understand what are the checklist items that you should complete before you sit in the exam if you are planning to give this exam in the near past. The DP-700 exam, if you clear that exam, you will get this certification, Microsoft Certified Fabric Data Engineer Associate. You must have expertise with data loading, data architectures like the event medallion, the batch medallion, the Lambda architectures, and the analytical architecture, transactional and analytical architectures, and orchestration processes, that is pipelines, and data flow gen 2. So you can clearly observe that the focus of this exam is about the ETL, extract, transform, and load, and using Fabric as the data engineering tool. Fabric software as a services as the data engineering tool. It's an intermediate level exam. There is no expert level exam in the data and the AI series. There is no expert certification. So if you open the certification poster, you will see that in the certification poster, in the data and AI, there is no expert level certification, right? Expert level certification will have a star on it that it is expert. There is no expert level certification in the data and the AI, and there is a reason for it. Microsoft wants people to clear all the DP and the AI series and the PL series to be the data and the AI architect. If you go into the jobs and you look at the job descriptions, in the job description, it is mentioned as data and AI architect. There is no concept of a solution architect, expert, or anything. Microsoft wants you to clear all these exams that you see, DP-600, DP-700, and AI 102 and PL-300, which you know we are learning, right? So PL-300 is what we're going to learn later, and you have DP-600 and DP-700, which we are learning. It's a bundle. And when you clear AI 102 also, after that, you become a data and the AI architect, and you are ready to apply for those job profiles where they say we want an Azure data and AI architects, which means they would see if you have these credentials like DP600, DP700, AI 102, PL300. I have almost all of these. So then you are treated as a data and the AI architect, even though there is no expert level code on it, right? So that's about the question that whether there is some expert level certification. So it's an intermediate level exam. Role is data engineer, obviously. Subject is data engineering, and the product that it is focused on is Microsoft Fabric. You can see the overview, right? You need SQL, you need PySpark, and you need KQL. The primers of all the three were shared with you. You must practice all the three before you sit in the examination. I will forward the full bundle again with our team and they can share you the full bundle of the primer again for your practice. Remember, for SQL, we had this. If you go to github.com, you will find DP-080. So here you see DP-080. This is the primer of SQL, which you have to complete before you sit in the exam. Okay, all the scripts and everything is given to you, right? Demo scripts are there. You have the labs that you have set up Fabric, and then you can do all of these labs. You must do them before you go to exam. Okay. In a similar way, the bundle of PySpark, essential PySpark notebooks. I have a compilation of about 50 notebooks in which you will have a lot of PySpark code. It will teach you a lot of things. I don't know if I have downloaded on this laptop. Then the KQL, KQL reference is always available from Microsoft themselves. KQL reference, okay. The KQL reference sheet, you see cheat sheet is available. And we request you that before you go to exam, you just go and you go ahead and you work with this KQL cheat sheet. Okay, so here you have the KQL and you can practice the KQL. Here it is given how to write KQL. Just go through it before you go to the exam. A small little KQL sheet. It is more than sufficient to answer questions in the exam. And if in a real world, when you are in a project, obviously you will master the KQL for that. So this would be more than sufficient for the exam. Then let us now look at the sandbox of this examination. Okay, let me launch the sandbox. It will ask me to log in. So we can use, maybe it does not ask me login, no worries. So here you see, here we are launching the exam sandbox. You can see that this is the exam candidate agreement. You will be presented with a non-disclosure agreement. You can read that non-disclosure agreement. Yes, I agree. And then the exam would open. Here it is. You can see how much time you will get. DP-700 is an exam which will provide you total 60 plus 40, which is 100 minutes. 1 hour, 40 minutes to complete your exam. And apart from that, you will also get another 20 minutes to give the feedback on the questions, which no one does. Okay. No one says, hey, I want to give you the feedback. So once you complete your exam, whatever the questions you got in the exam, they will ask you, would you like to give the feedback to each of these questions? So another 20 minutes for you to give the feedback. But generally, I think you will not do that. You will simply say, no, I want to go home. I want to take rest. I don't want to give you feedback. So they will say, okay, end the exam and now we will give you your score. And then the score will pop up on your screen. Out of 1000, how much have you scored? You need to score 700 out of 1000 in order to do the exam. See, I think I have read that. Now the exam would start. Exam time, total questions, standalone questions, case studies, labs. Start the exam. Welcome to the exam. So here you can see your exam progress, that you are right now at what level, right? So you are at the survey, whatever, calculator, color scheme, light, dark, high contrast. You can use all these things. Next. So now let us look at, so exam progress, we are at standalone questions. We are starting 11 standalone questions. Question details, you have not answered any of them as of now. Okay. You can check all these things from here. You can take a break. What does that mean? Any question that you have seen, does not matter if you have answered or not, you can take a break. For example, you say, I want to take a break. Then this question, which you have already seen, you have seen this question. You have not answered it yet. Would you like to take a break? If that is the case, this question will not be available to you again, right? So return to the exam. Maybe you can mark this. So this is the first type of a question. Multiple choice, single correct. So four choices, one of them is correct. Let's say bird. You can change this answer later. Maybe you want to change it later. So you can mark it for review later and it will be say I want to mark for review, and whatever that question is, you can revisit that question later. Okay, for example, you go to the next question and then you mark that also. Here it is multiple choice, multiple select. How many are selecting? Two. Which two fruits make a great snack? Banana, apple, orange, melon, grapes. So let's say you mark this and you also mark it for review. So whatever the questions you mark for review, it means that you can change them, you can change their response later. So you see, it will take you to exam questions marked for review. See, these are the two questions that you have marked for review, and you can go to those questions and change your answer if you want. Mark for review. You are looking at a question that you have marked for review. So you can change it and then say, no, I am now fine. I don't want to review it again. So exit the review mode. You have changed your answer. Okay. Now go back to the question number three, because that's where you need to start. So you can do that. And then if you want to take a break, you can say, I want to take a break. They say you have seen all these three questions. One of them is unanswered. Other two are answered as well as reviewed. This you have not reviewed. You have marked it for review. And this you have not even answered. So you can go to that one on which you have not answered and then take a break. Don't take a break without answering any question that you have seen, right? Because once you see a question and you don't answer it and you start a break, that question is gone. So now you can say, I have answered this and now I want to take a break. So they say, okay, you have answered all the three. Nothing is unanswered. One of them is for review. If you like to revisit it, you can go and revisit it. Otherwise, you can say, I want to take a small little break now. Start a break. You are on break, but that does not mean the timer will stop. The timer in the exam will keep on running. Exam timer will not stop. You are taking the break out of your exam time. So you have to be fast in whatever the kind of thing you want to do in the break. You want to go for a washroom, or you want to take a little bit of water. You want to get a little bit of relief, and let's say some kind of a rest. Maybe whatever you want to do, you can take that break and then come back and resume. It will say to you that certain questions are no longer available for you. Three are answered and they are not available for review anymore. You'll not see them in the review. So now the question type three, if you remember. So usually the second type of a question is multiple choice, multiple correct. How many are correct? Two. Mark them. You can change them later. This is the second type of the question. Third type of the question is stickers. Drag and drop the stickers. So you have some stickers over here and you need to drag them wherever is the right place for the stickers to be, right? This is one of the most fun loving exam questions. You will be getting some services here. There will be some stickers of the services, and then you will have to drag them. Where will you use that service? I have got this kinds of question many times. Stickers questions. Drag and drop. Review is possible later, which means if you want to change your answer, you can change the answer later. Okay. Review is possible later. This is the third type of the question. Next. Now, this is one of the hardest type of the question. Hardest. For this, you need practice hands on lab. If you have not done your labs, you will not be able to answer these kinds of questions, because these questions are testing your practical knowledge. You have to do something. These are the steps to do that. They are not in the right order. You have to pick five tasks from here and arrange them in the correct order of doing something. So they will give you jumbled options over here, and then you will have to arrange them in the right order. For that precise reason, you have to focus on the DP-700 and 600 labs that we had done in the classroom. So these are called as build list reorder questions, where you get questions in a way, you get actions, and you need to arrange them in the correct order. Which 5 tasks should you do in the correct order to create a ham sandwich? Here are some steps. Arrange them in the correct order. Okay. Place ham on top of a slice of a bread, add mayo, add a little bit of ketchup, add pickles, and then place the slice of bread on top of ham and condiments. Right? You can do that. Review possible later. If you want to change your answer, you can change your answer. Place the slices of bread on the plate, add mayo, add ketchup, add pickle, place a slice of bread on top of ham and condiments, whatever. Okay. Fourth type of a question was that build list reorder. The next type of a question is called as an active screen. You will get a real fabric screen in front of you, and they will ask you, you want to do something. This is what you need to do. You have an active screenshot of a screen, and now you need to select what has to be done. Windows Vista, this, run as an admin, and okay. You will have to complete what is required to be completed. Active screen will be given to you. Review is possible later. If you want to change your answer later, you can change it. Active screen. This is called as an active screen question, and you will be able, so they will give you the real fabric portal. Here is the screen, active screen of the fabric portal. Do something which we want you to do. Which means you would have to just select some options. Active screen questions. Now, can you see that these questions will test your practical knowledge? Build list reorder, right? Arrange the tasks and actions in the correct order, which are jumbled. So that is essentially nothing but practical knowledge that they are testing. That's why focus on hands-on before you sit in the exam. Again, active screen. This is also practical knowledge that they would like to see if you have the practical knowledge. Next type of a question is also active screen, but it will not give you a graphical element. It will give you something from the something scenario. Instead of a screenshot, the question may require you that you complete a statement. It's a variety of active screen question type that may not have a graphic element. Here is a question, and now you need to do something. So create a user role on and action assigned to the user role, which means it's a multiple choice question containing multiple questions within a single question. So this is a question number 6. It has this first question, and here are the options, single correct. Same question, another option, and you have. Because this is according to the scenario. So this is nothing but a variation of active screen. Instead of getting an active screen, they ask you, you want to do something, where would you do it and how would you do it? You can change your answer later if you want, okay? Review is possible later. You can change your response later. Next. Next type of a question is hot area. This type of a question will contain one or more clickable areas where the selected or clicked areas represent some correct answer. So here is a scenario, and now this is the hot area. Can you see all these questions are testing your practical knowledge? Now only one of these are right, hot area. Which one is right? You have to select that. Hot area, you have selected this will be submitted. Hot area, you can review it later, leave your feedback if you want on this question. So at the end they will ask you a feedback for this question. You can say, oh, this question looks like it's not right in my opinion. I think some critical information is missing. I don't think that this question is complete. Sufficient data is not provided in this question. Although I am marking it because there is no negative marking, but I would like to leave a feedback later on this question because in my knowledge this question has insufficient data, but I'm doing the best possible option in my opinion, but I would like to leave the feedback. So at the end you can leave the feedback for this question, right? You can encounter some questions where you would say, okay, I think that this is not a right question, or this question is ambiguous. Okay, next. Next type of a question is exhibit based. Here is an exhibit. Look at this very carefully and then answer the question that is based on that exhibit. So they will give you some picture from Fabric and they will ask you answer some questions on this. For example, I remember in my exam they had shown me a pipeline with dependencies on success, on completion, on skipped, and on failure. And then they had asked that this is the activity in the pipeline that you are skipping, and this is the activity in the pipeline that is connected on the basis of skipping of the previous activity. When you run the pipeline for the first time, which activities will be run? When you run the pipelines for the second time, which activity will be run? They had that question for me. So in the exhibit, a big picture of a pipeline was there in Fabric. And then I had to answer a question on that. I just wanted to make sure that I am right. If you skip an activity, that activity will never run. Whether you run the pipeline first time or whether you run the pipeline second time, that pipeline will not run that activity which you are skipping. Mark to skip. So you can verify it by opening something called as a documentation in the exam. DP-700 as well as DP-600, both the exams are open book, open book, open book. What does that mean? Here that option is not shown. But when you're going to sit for the real examination, you will also see another option here. What is that? Open MS Learn. That option is not coming. I don't know why it's not coming here in the sandbox. When you will go for real exam, believe me, here there will be another option that would say, would you like to open MS Learn? So when you click on that, MS Learn will open. This thing will open, learn.microsoft.com. This thing will open in front of you. This page will open. And how will it open is something like this, that you would see it like this. Your exam would be like this and MS Learn would be like this. It will open something like this. When you click on that button, there will be a button over here. I don't know why it's not being shown in the sandbox. When you go for the real exam, DP-700 and 600 both are open book. You will be given an option to open the MS Learn. So if you don't know the answer, you can verify by searching it in the documentation, right? You can search the answer in the documentation if you don't know the answer, okay? So how to practice this? This is itself a skill. Before you sit in the exam, make sure you are in the right mindset of being exam mock examination. I will show you how you can do the mock exam very shortly. In the mock exam, try to give the answer to every question from documentation. Because the questions that you already know or the answers to the questions which you already know, you need not worry. But in an exam, you may get some questions where you would like to double check your response from documentation. So you should do a mock examination before. No, no, no. See, exam is designed in such a way that you cannot answer all the questions from documentation. They're not going to give you 4 hours to do the exam. Exam is allowing you to see the documentation. That does not mean the question is directly visible in the documentation. You will not have sufficient time. Let's say someone says, I want to sit in this exam and I don't know anything about this exam. I don't know anything about the exam. But since you are saying it is open book, I will answer all questions from documentation and get 700 out of 1000. The questions are so lengthy that if you try to read the question and find its answer from documentation, you cannot do it for all questions. You will feel the time crunch. You can answer maximum 10 questions by looking at documentation. You will not even find the time to answer all of them. The exam is designed in such a way by the certification team. No one can answer even 20% of the questions from documentation. You will not find it. So, why are they giving the documentation? Some questions, like they're asking you about numbers, they're asking you about some setting, they're asking you about some frequently updated thing, like some quota limits and whatever. Would you not like to verify it? They're asking you in such questions, go and re verify it. We are allowing you to verify it because no one crams those numbers, right? This was a feedback that was given to Microsoft, that sometimes you ask a question, what is the maximum message size in the service bus queue? Now, people don't cram numbers. Why don't you say, if someone can verify that from documentation, it's good. So they said, okay, we'll allow you to open documentation. But then they made sure that no one would be able to do the entire exam by documentation. Maximum, I have taken 17 exams in Microsoft, 17 total. And in DP-700, my personal experience was lengthy questions. I had 43 questions and 8 questions in case studies. So total 43 plus 8, 51 questions I got in the examination. And believe me, I only was able to complete 39. I was only able to do 39 questions out of 51 in 1 hour 40 minutes. Only 39. I was not even able to do 51 all of these. Even when there was the documentation, even then I had studied so much and so forth, done so much hands on, because length of the question was enormous. Each question was about 2 to 3 minutes to read it for the first time, then think about it, and then would you like to answer it or see it from documentation. So you would spend considerable amount of time on a single question. If you really do not have the knowledge, then you would not be able to find the answer for each question from documentation. It's been designed highly specifically in that way. I will show you my score sheet very shortly. Okay. So we should not think that, oh, they are saying open book, that means that even someone who has no idea, they can open the documentation, answer and clear the exam. Then there, what is the purpose of exam? No, it's designed. I got 740 out of 1000 just by answering 39 questions out of 51. Rest of all the questions, 12 questions, I just gave random responses because there is no negative marking. The timer was running. I only had 3 minutes remaining. So 39 questions genuinely answered. I gave a lot of thought on those 39 questions, spend a lot of time scratching the head, checking the documentation, make sure these 39 are correct. Rest 12, randomly mark them because there is no time to read them. So I had to randomly just mark the responses randomly. Okay, not even reading the question, just mark the response randomly. There is no time. Okay. And fortunately, I got 740 out of 1000, which is good, right? Which means every 3 questions out of 4 were correct. So whatever 4 questions you saw, 3 of them were always right. You your failure rate was 1 question in every 4 questions was wrong. So it gave me a report. Every fourth question that you have answered is wrong. Rest all is fine. Go ahead. 75 out of 1000. 750 on 1000. So I was very happy. I said that's a good thing that even without answering all 51, I had that kind of a success rate. And if I had gone to all those other questions, it would have been better. So time crunch would happen. So you need to be prepared for the time crunch. Okay. Which means you have to be very analytical in your approach in the exam. I will show you the score sheet very shortly. So exhibit. So this is the eighth kind of a question. You have an exhibit, look at the exhibit and mark the response. Again, testing your practical exposure. You can change your answer later if you want. Next. Ninth type of a question, more exhibits. Multiple exhibits. Answer the question on base of multiple exhibits. Yes and no. Review later possible. You can change your answer later if you want. So this is multiple exhibit, even more harder. Okay, this is a harder question. Again, all of this practical. Again, all of this is testing your practical. Now you will get a set of questions in the exam which will not allow you to do any review. If you mark a response and you leave from that question, you move ahead. You cannot change your response. It's like locking the response and you cannot change it. You have to be sure before you mark it. So they are testing your clarity. Whether this candidate has a clarity, right? Because when you're sitting in front of your clients and customers, they ask you questions and you have to give them a response in a clear and a concise and you must have a clarity of mind that what I am telling, I will not change later, right? You cannot be, what do you say, saying something now and then saying something later, like maybe a politician would do. Okay. Here is a question. Here is a solution. Will it work? No. There is no review possible. Are you sure? Would you like to lock the no now? Yes, I would like to lock the no. Move ahead. You cannot change it. Now comes the same scenario, a different solution, which you propose to the customer. You say, this will work? Yes, this will work. Next. That's it. For those two questions, review is not possible. Clarity of mind was tested in that. Rest, all of them, they are open for review. Which one would you like to review now? Please tell me. Let's say you want to review this one, active screen thing. So you can go and review this question. Okay, review, mark for review. Okay, you can say, I think this is not gonna come, this is what gonna come. And you know, many people say that if you change your responses too frequently in the exam, it can lead to failure. So avoid too much of changing the responses. When you mark a response, be sure about it. Right? People mark right and then they come again at the end and they mark things, they change the things in quick, and then they see, oh, I think whatever I had given was right. That's why they have given documentation that if someone has a spare time at the end, let's say you are left with 7 or 8 minutes at the end, some questions you can verify from the documentation. I did it in DP-600. DP-700 rarely had the chance to use documentation to its full. But in DP-600 course, DP-600 certification, which I gave, I think in that also I got 780, something like that. I will show you the score sheet very shortly. In that, I had a spare time at the end. I had 7 to 8 minutes of spare time. So what I did was some questions were regarding the mashup language, M queries, M functions. So I just verified whether the that code related questions that I have given the answers is right or wrong. One of them was wrong, so I changed the response. So the documentation is given for an advantage. If someone is highly knowledgeable, they would go and verify the things and move ahead. If someone says, I will answer all the questions from documentation because I don't know anything about this, I would clear it by just opening your documentation. No. Exam is designed in such a way that you cannot answer all questions from documentation. Right? So let's say this, and then you say next, 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 and you can complete this section. And that's it. Next. And then you say, I want to finish this section and move towards the case study. So case study comes. Case study, you read the case study. So here is the overview of the case study. Here is an existing environment that is provided to you. Read it. Then the requirements that are given to you, read them, and then come to the questions. 3 questions are there only. I had total 8 questions in the case study. Case study, if it comes towards the end, make sure that you understand that you would need at least 15 to 20 minutes for case study. At least 15 minutes. No one can answer the case study faster than 15 minutes. I had only 3 or 4 minutes. So what I just did was randomly mark them, move ahead. Okay. I did not even read because I did not have the time to read it, let alone time crunch would happen. Okay. So I had to just mark randomly in my exam. I'm telling you my own exam experience, right? But make sure that if case study does not come at the beginning, because the case study can either come at the beginning or it can come towards the end. We have no control on that. For some of you, case study can come at the beginning. Let's say all of you go to the exam. Few of you would see case study as the beginning of the exam. Your exam starts with the case study. For some of you, the case study will be towards the end, which means you have to first finish your standalone questions. Once you finish your standalone questions, then the case study will come. For some of you, the case study would come first. Then, once you finish the case study, then the standalone questions will come. If the case study is at the end, make sure you keep at least 15 minutes out of 1 hour 40 minutes for that, which means you have to answer your standalone questions typically in 1 hour 15 minutes. 75 minutes. You can say, I want to give 75 minutes for standalone questions, and rest of the time, which is 15 plus 10, 25 typically for the case study. Okay. Then you mark the case study and then you say, I want to finish the case study. Performance based testing is not there in DP-700. You will not get a lab in DP-700. So this is there explaining you about lab. This video will explain you that if you go to expert level certifications, you will also see performance based testing. Lab, you would have to do hands on. But in this, you don't have to do the hands on. So you can say DP-700 and DP-600 will not have any hands-on. So you can see, do you want to finish everything? You can say yes, thank you. And you can say next, and you can then finish and exit, right? You can do comments also. Okay. So this is called as a feedback section. Give feedback. If you want to give the feedback, you can give the feedback, right? So if you want to give the feedback to these questions, okay, you can give the feedback. See, I entered into the feedback. So you're going to get the feedback for each question. Now, this is typically done in the beta program. When you are giving a beta certification, I just gave beta certification once because beta does not come to Indian subcontinent. In the Indian subcontinent, you will not get beta program. Beta certifications are only available in Europe, US, Australia. Beta certifications are not available in the Indian subcontinent. India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh. You'll not see that. Okay. So, why to give the feedback? Only if you feel this question has something which I want to give the feedback about. These questions are thoroughly tested in the beta program that they are 100% correct. There is nothing wrong in these questions. No one can challenge Microsoft regarding these questions. These are right questions. Finish the exam, receive your score, and enjoy. Exam sandbox. So, wouldn't it be important for you that before you go to the exam DP-600 and DP-700, you do a mock practice? You should do a mock practice before you give both the exams, 700 and 600. Right? You should do the mock practice. So, how will you do the mock practice? You need to sign in using your MS Learn account. Sign in. You must have an MS Learn account, right? You see, I'm getting a lot of MS Learn accounts of our fellow colleagues, right? So you see, I'm logging in. So if you log in using your MS Learn account, Here you see logged in through the MS Learn account. Once you're logged in using the MS Learn account, now you can say, I want to take a practice assessment. You say, I want to start my practice assessment. Now, run the timer. You have 50 questions. Try to answer each question in just 2 minutes, right? That is right, because 50 plus 2 is 15 to 200 minutes, right? So 100 minutes. So you could say 100 minutes is 1 hour, 40 minutes. In the exam, you will typically get 40 questions. So, oh, something went wrong. Don't know what. Right. So you can run the timer and open MS Learn documentation. Keep it on the right hand side like this and keep your practice assessment like this and run the timer. I don't know why my timer is not running. So this is the question. An organization uses Fabric, delays with jobs due to high demand on shared resources. You need to optimize Spark job execution time by configuring a custom Spark cluster within the Fabric. What action should be taken? Auto scaling enabled, set maximum nodes based on the peak load. Custom Spark full static node allocation, enable static allocation of executors. Use a custom Spark pool with fixed number of nodes. I think the first option makes sense, except if there is some trick in this question. Okay. You can read next. Company uses Fabric data engineering, performance issues Spark due to inefficient resource allocation, Spark pool, improve performance and reduce cost. Which three actions should you take? Dynamic allocation of executors, auto scale for node provisioning, and memory optimized nodes. I would go for that. Okay, I would go for that. Okay. Yep. Next, Fabric data engineering, current setup starter pool. Some jobs require more compute resources in the starter pool. Optimize the workspace to handle larger jobs without significantly increasing session start times. Session start time should not increase. We know that the starter pool gives us within few seconds the session. Whereas other clusters, if we create custom clusters, they will take at least 3 minutes to give us the Spark session. That's why we prefer to use the starter pool. But the starter pool, they say that people are using starter pool and they are seeing some resource require more compute resources than the starter pool can currently provide. Create a custom Spark pool with auto scaling, disable the starter pool, enable dynamic allocation of executors, increase executor memory in the starter pool, increase the number of partitions in the Spark job. I would go for these two. I would prefer to use the starter pool itself, but increase the executor memory. But that compute will not increase in that case. How to also increase the compute? They did not talk about the compute. Dynamic allocation of the executors will occur on the nodes of the starter pool. So nothing of that was discussed here. How you are scaling the compute of the starter pool. So which means we would have to go to a custom Spark pool with auto scaling and also the dynamic allocation of executors. I would prefer to go with this. Let's see what happens here. Yep. Because here they are not talking about anything. How are you increasing the size of the starter pool? Compute memory is highlighted. You can increase the memory of the starter pool. But what about compute nodes? Nothing. So we'll have to go to this. And obviously, dynamic allocation of executor has to be done. If you don't know the answer, try to find it in the documentation. See, this is another question. You can mark it. I'm not reading it, okay, because we have time crunch. You can mark it and move ahead. Resource optimization of information workload demand. What should you do? Enable auto scaling. Workload demands, enable auto scaling. Fabric deployment pipeline, dev, test, prod, deploy only specific content from test to prod. You need to configure the deployment pipeline, deploy only specific content from test to prod. What should you do? Deploy all content, modify deployment rules, use selective deployment. We have done that, right? You will have checkbox. What do you want to deploy from one stage to next stage? You will get a checkbox, this. If you check my video recording again, you would see we had done the selective deployment. Select what you want, that will be deployed. Clean deployment, incremental deployment, we had done. I think selective deployment, let's see. Go for a selective deployment. Restrict editing of pipeline settings to authorized users only. Assign pipeline admin role, because that's the only role someone could do. Stage level security, I don't think anything of that makes any sense here. Let's see. Yep. Because there is only one thing on the pipeline level, the pipeline admin role. You can configure that role properly. Efficient content management of transition content between environments. Correct answer. Which 4 actions should you take? Pipeline with multiple stages, review deployment history, use deployment rules, enable notifications for deployment status updates. You also need premium workspaces, fabric workspaces. Yep. You need premium workspaces also. So practice. And if you don't know the answer, try to find it in the documentation. Okay, let me download my score sheet because I would like to show you something from the score sheet. Right, I would have to navigate to my profile. I'm doing it on the second screen because a lot of PIIs are there. Certification ID is there and MCP ID is there, which I think you know because of restrictions, we cannot share it. So I would quickly download my report for you. Here we go. Go to the view the details on the provider's website. So you see, I have cleared both of these if you observe. Right here you see. So let me download that. Just give me a second. View details on the provider's site. 44. Because that would highlight certain points that you need to remember before you go to the exam. Okay, submit. Now this will take me to the provider's website. Pearson view, as you know, exam has to be given through Pearson view. You see, my exam dashboard is now open. If you observe, here is the exam dashboard open. I have one exam to be given in the near past, in the near future, I'm sorry. AZ 800 is what I have to give. And if you see, this is the full exam history. All these are the exams that have been given, more than 17. A lot of exams I have given. And here is DP-600 pass, right? DP-600, sorry. Yeah. DP-600 and DP-700, right? So these are the exams that I had given in the past. And if you were to just look at the score reports, I would like to show you DP-700 score report, because if you are not able to, let us say, clear the exam, it will tell you where did you lack. We believe that you will not lack. Okay, we believe that you will be able to clear everything in a single go. Right? You should be able to do everything in a single go. It's our belief that you should be able to do everything in a single go, right? So here you see 700 result pass proctored, site number proctor, result pass, registration passing score 700, you get 740. What does that mean? All the 3 testing areas on which you are tested, okay, on all the 3 areas that you are tested, you answered 3 out of 4 correctly. That is an optimal preparation. Don't say I will answer everything 100%. That is not realistic. You will just waste your time doing that. No one says you want 100%. I prepared the exam in such a way which I could also show to our learners that the right strategy is, don't say I will get 100 here and then 50-50 here, or 50 here and then 80-80 here. No, that's not the right thing. You have to be equally good in all the 3. So 75 above in all the 3 is good, optimal. I could have been 80, 80, 80 in all the three. I was not able to answer some questions. I did not expect that the exam could take so much of time. Out of 43 questions, which were normal questions, 39 I answered. 8 questions of the case study and the remaining 3 questions, whatever, 4 questions. Okay. I could not answer. Randomly marked. Go ahead. Fingers crossed. And luckily, I saw what I just wanted. Every 3 question out of 4 correct. Every 3 question out of 4 correct. Here you see. Candidate ID on the Friday, June of 13th, 2025. Out of all those 2020, I have given more than 17. 17 is what I have passed. Rest all is many attempts. And I give exams every month because it is a part of the requirement that you have to continuously sit in the exams with preparation. It's a beautiful thing. So one thing to focus when you go to exam is there is no need to answer, oh, I will answer 100% correctly. No, that's not needed. In all the three branches of learning, I have to have a success rate where I say 3 out of 4, I am marking correctly. And if that is the case, that's the optimal way of giving certification. What about DP-600? Let me see my DP-600 for you. Score reports. Score reports. DP-600. Okay, view. DP-600. DP-600. And let me open that. Okay. So here it is. DP-600. 885. Oh my God. DP-600 was amazing. Don't know. I did not even remember this. DP-600. DP-600. Saturday, January of 2025. Passing score 700. Here I scored too much because in DP-600 I had the time at the end. I remember it vividly that in DP-600 I had the time towards the end of the exam where I said, oh, I have a time here, 7-8 minutes. Let me cross verify some questions. And some questions I cross verified here, and that boosts it beyond 80%. And even if here it is, you see, here I am 75. That's how I strategize. I'm telling you the strategy that I have used in all Microsoft certifications. I never say that in one of the module I will do 100% and rest of the modules I will be doing 50%. That's not 75. Every 3 questions out of 4 must be right. That's the right strategy. If I did not have the time at the end to cross verify some questions in the other two, then it would also have been somewhere here only, 75, 80. This is what I did in these two, which propelled it to 885. Saturday, January of 2025. So the right strategy to give the exam is you have to focus that I need to have a success rate where my success rate is that I will have 3 out of 4 questions marked correctly. You see all these exams which I have passed. One of them I failed, Power Platform Functional Consultant, because this is not my domain. My manager told me, go and give this examination. I will show you you're learning something new. Okay, even in this, what one of our participants said, can we clear the exam even if we do not know anything? What if I don't know anything? I just did that experiment. I don't know anything. Why are you sending me to give this exam? We will show you in this quarter you're learning something new. Okay. So I just went for the exam without anything. Okay. You see, I had to score Wednesday, December of 21st, 2022, fail 586 out of 700. In some of them, I reached that mark. I was trying to reach that 70%, 75% mark, but in some of them, I was not able to do it. And if you ask me, do you know anything of this? I don't know anything of this. What is this Power Virtual Agents? What is Microsoft Power Applications? I have no idea about this. This is not my domain. You will not be able to pass exam if you say, I don't know anything and I will answer everything from documentation. I have done that experiment. You cannot answer all questions from documentation. In some of them, I was able to answer through documentation, but then you see, if I had answered 3, 5, or 6 more questions correctly, I would pass. Experiment would prove that if you do not know anything, you would be able to pass the exam. But that's not the right strategy. That's not the correct strategy. The correct strategy is whatever the modules of learning are, my success rate has to be 3 out of 4 questions. I have to mark them correctly. You see, I'm giving exams from 2019, 2025. One of them, obviously, this is not my domain. Okay, Power Platform Functional Consultant. This is precisely that experiment which I did. If you're giving me the access to documentation, why would I not answer all from documentation and clear this exam? But that's not possible. You cannot answer all questions from the exam. Rest all you can see. And the latest one, as you can see, is DP-600 and DP-700 with a similar kind of a success rate. 3 out of 4 questions are right. And in DP-600, time crunch was not there. So I had the free time to verify some questions, and that propelled the score beyond 80%, which is wonderful. 850, 885, almost 90%. Okay, which means 9 out of 10 questions you're marking correctly. So that's excellent. Okay. So remember that you would have to strategize your exam properly. You would have to strategize it in such a way that you clear the exam with proper mechanism, right? So this brings me to the end of the discussion. All the bundle, which is SQL, KQL, and essential PySpark. Let us quickly summarize everything that you need to know before you go to the exam. So, before you go to the exam, make sure that you go ahead and you complete the SQL primer, which is DP7, DP080. You complete the PySpark bundle that I will share with you. Okay, this bundle I will share. PySpark practice notebooks. Third is the KQL cheat sheet that you should have done. Complete labs from aka.ms/mslearn mslearn hyphen fabric mslearn hyphen fabric. Okay. And then complete the practice assessment from learn.microsoft.com. Complete the practice assessment. Even more practice bundles are available from the team. Practice bundles. Okay. They are available on the various other websites like CertiIQ, but I think the K21 team themselves have the practice bundle. You should complete that. Exam is of 1000 marks. You need 700. A good score would mean 750 is what is an optimal score. 3 out of 4 questions. This is optimal. Anything beyond this is greatness. This is optimal. I think this is what an intelligent person would try to do. He would say, I would mark 3 out of every 4 questions correctly in every domain, whatever you are testing me on. Okay. And if you're better than that, I think you are great. That's greatness then. Okay. And you need to be in the framework of, you must be in a frame of mind that you are really giving the exam before a few days, before the real exam. Okay. No negative marking. No negative marking. 140 minutes. 100 minutes. 60 plus 40. Plus 20 minutes for feedback, which I think no one would do. Feedback. Make sure you're planning how you're using these 100 minutes. You could say 100 minutes can be divided into keep 20 minutes for case study and rest 80 minutes for questions. No negative marking guesses are allowed. Score 700 out of 1000, 750 out of 1000 is what you should optimally go for. Anything beyond that is greatness. No negative marking guesses are allowed. 100 minutes, 20 minutes for case study, 80 minutes for questions, and 20 another minutes for feedback, which you should not do. Get your score and go for rest. Get your score, and go for rest. And you know how to book the exam, right? Where is that? Yeah. Just give me a second. So to book the exam, you just need to go to the website and then say, hey, I want to book the exam. So they will take you through that process of booking the exam. For example, here is the thing, and you could say, I want to schedule this exam. Go through the full process. It's very easy. Only thing that you have to decide is whether you want to give the exam at home or at a test center. I would recommend you test center in your city. Don't give the exam at home. Unnecessarily headache. Bandwidth of the internet, no one should speak. You should be in a room which is clean and tidy. Lot of checks and balances are there when you give the exam at home. Just travel to an exam center in your city, whatever your city is. There are many exam centers in the city. Travel to that exam center and give your exam in that city. Okay, so I think this you can do yourself. So this brings us to the end of the exam prep.
So now that you have got the roadmap, remember that practice makes perfect. Before sitting for the DP-700 or DP-600 exam, make sure to review the resources we have covered, complete the hands-on labs, and do mock exams to boost your confidence. And don't forget, the exams are designed to test your practical knowledge, so get comfortable with the tools and techniques. Also, if you want to take your Azure data skills to the next level, don't forget to sign up for the free Azure Data on Cloud Masterclass that I mentioned earlier. So you can register through the link in the description as well as in the pinned comments. Also, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and we'll be happy to help you. Also, good luck with your preparations and I'm sure you'll do great in your exams. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated on more helpful tips. So I'll see you in the next video.